Anger is a great power. If used intelligently, it can be a force for positive change. However, anger is most misunderstood in modern society. We are taught to suppress it or even feel ashamed of it. But what if anger isn't a bad thing? What if it's actually a gift? In this video, I will teach you how to harness the power of anger and use it to your ultimate advantage. Let's get started. Some of the greatest works of art, music, and literature were fueled by raw emotion such as anger. In fact, many artists channel their frustration into astonishing work, transforming their pain into powerful results. Let's take the famous example of Eminem's music. Eminem grew up in extreme poverty, abandoned by his father, bullied in school, and struggling with an unstable home life. He was angry at the world, at his circumstances, at himself. But instead of letting that anger destroy him, he turned it into music. His lyrics became his release, his weapon, his therapy. Every insult, every hardship, every bit of rage, he transformed them into some of the most powerful verses in hip-hop history. His album, the Marshall Mathers LP, wasn't just music, it was a war cry, a direct, unfiltered expression of everything he had bottled up, and it made him one of the greatest rappers of all time. Therefore, you must ask yourself, what makes you angry? Is it your struggle? A betrayal? A moment of injustice? Then when you find your source of anger, channel it into something truly great. Like Eminem, you must use your anger creatively. You can paint, write, make music, or even start a passion project. What about you? What's one creative outlet through which you can channel your anger? Talk to me in the comments. Scientific studies suggest that anger triggers adrenaline, increasing strength, speed, and reaction time. For example, the greatest athletes use anger in their favor. They don't just let it take over, they harness it, shaping it into an unstoppable drive. A perfect example for this is Michael Jordan. When people doubted or disrespected him, he took it personally. If a coach benched him or a rival insulted him, it made him angry. Take a look at this interview where he talks about taking things personally.
If I had to pick a team that gave us the toughest time in the East, Indiana was probably the toughest outside of Detroit. They were tough. Every time I go in that game and come out, I got a new scratch. It became personal with me. That's all I needed. That's all I needed for him to do that, and it became personal with me. Clyde was a threat. I'm not saying he wasn't a threat, but me being compared to him, I took offense to that.
He used his anger as a power source to push himself past his limits and put numbers on the scoreboard. He won countless NBA championships and was hailed the greatest of all time. To this day, he is widely respected and admired in the athletic world. Now it's your turn. Think of a time when you were ridiculed, overlooked, or criticized. Hold on to that memory and tap deeply into your anger. Next time you train, make it a point to run faster, lift heavier, and push harder through the pain. When someone disrespects you, takes advantage of you, or crosses the line in any way, anger can be a very useful response. It's a signal, a warning sign in your mind telling you that's not right. And the strongest personalities don't suppress it or let it control them. They use it to enforce their boundaries. To illustrate this point, I'll give you a personal example. I once had a boss who usually liked to make fun of his employees, myself among them. I suspect it made him feel superior to others. However, I took an insult to that. I did not appreciate being disrespected among my peers. I always made a point to respect everyone, and I expected the same in return. It drove me mad. I used to think about it all the time. Until one day, I had enough and decided to talk to him about it. I explained myself plainly and without equivocation. I maintained a calm demeanor and told him that I didn't like him making fun of me in front of others. He saw my seriousness about the matter, and he understood. From then on, he showed nothing but respect and consideration towards me, both personally and professionally. From this experience, I learned a very important lesson. In order for people to respect your boundaries, you have to first respect yourself. And how do you do that? You must develop high standards on dealing with people. But first, you must abide by your rules. Respect all people, and then people will naturally feel obliged to respect you back. If someone violates your limits and anger rises in response, don't explode, but pause and ask yourself, what boundary is being violated? Then use that anger to communicate your limits clearly and firmly. For instance, saying something as simple as, "I'm not okay with that," in a firm, calm voice is more powerful than yelling. Now I ask you, has someone ever crossed your boundaries before? What are the most important boundaries in your life? Feel free to share your own story in the comments to inspire us. Believe it or not, anger can boost your confidence tremendously. When controlled, it could give you the push to speak up, stand your ground, and express your thoughts with strength. A great example of this is Elon Musk and his interview with the illustrious CNBC. In it, he was being asked about the recent tweets he had posted. Take a look.
But how do you make a choice? You don't see, I mean, in terms of when you're going to engage. I mean, for example, even today, Elon, you tweeted this thing about George Soros. Well, I'm looking for it because I want to make sure I quote it properly. But, I mean, you know what you wrote. You said he wants to erode the very fabric of civilization, and Soros hates humanity. Like, when you do something like that, do you
I think that's true. That's my opinion.
Okay, but why share it? Why share it? Especially, why share it when people who buy Teslas may not agree with you, advertisers on Twitter may not agree with you? Why not just say, hey, I think this. You can tell me, we can talk about it over there, you can tell your friends, but why share it widely?
I mean, this is freedom of speech. I'm allowed to say what I want.
You absolutely are, but I'm trying to understand why you do, because you have to know it puts you in the middle of the partisan divide in the country. It makes you a lightning rod for criticism. I mean, do you like that? People today saying he's an anti-Semite. I don't think you are.
No, I'm definitely. I'm like a pro-Semite, if anything.
I believe that probably is the case.
Yes.
But why would you even introduce the idea then that would be the case?
I mean, look, we don't want to make this a George Soros interview.
No, God, no. I don't want to at all. But what I'm trying even came up though in the annual meeting. I mean, do your tweets hurt the company? Are there Tesla owners who say, I don't agree with his political position and I know it because he shares so much of it? Or are there advertisers on Twitter that Linda Yaccarino will come and say, you got to stop, man. I can't get these ads because of some of the things you tweet.
The interviewer was proposing that Elon might keep his controversial views to himself or his private circle, and that by censoring his tweets, he may protect Tesla's stock value and overall welfare. However, it was clear that this idea stirred anger inside of him, judging by the look on his face and the way he spoke. Watch his next response.
I'm reminded of the scene in The Princess Bride. Great movie.
Great movie.
Where he confronts the person who killed his father. And he says, offer me money. Offer me power. I don't care.
So you just don't care. You want to share what you have to say.
I'll say what I want to say, and if the consequence of that is losing money, so be it.
Okay.
Elon Musk spoke with confidence, with power, and with conviction. He made it clear that his freedom of speech mattered more than profits, and that no matter the cost, he will speak his mind. And here's the lesson. Your anger can enable you to stand your ground and speak plainly and boldly, even when the whole world is against you. At that time, you will command respect even if people disagree with you. So the next time anyone disapproves of you in any way, do not back down. Use your anger to reinforce your opinion and standpoint. Speak with clarity, make direct eye contact, and say exactly what you mean to say. Most people see anger as a destructive force, but it's quite the opposite if applied intelligently. For instance, when you feel frustrated by your struggles, that irritation can drive you to keep going instead of wallowing in misery. Take Stephen King as an example, the most successful horror writer of all time. Before he became successful, King faced constant rejection. He submitted short stories, editors dismissed them. He wrote novels, publishers told him that they weren't good enough. In his autobiography, he states that by the time he was 14, he had received so many rejection slips that he had to replace a nail with a spike to hold them all. His most famous book, Carrie, was rejected dozens of times before it was finally accepted. But here's the key. King never let rejection break him. Instead, he used his frustration to write more, write better, write faster. Have a look at this interview where the writer, George R.R. Martin, asks him how he writes so many books so fast.
George, we're going to have to wrap this up pretty soon. Is there anything that you've always wanted to ask me? Because, George, I will.
Yes, there is something I want to ask you.
All right.
How the do you write so many books so fast? I think, I've had a really good 6 months. I've written 3 chapters, and you've finished 3 books in that time.
Here's the thing, okay? The way that I work, I try to get out there and I try to get 6 pages a day. So with a book like End of Watch, and when I'm working, I work every day, 3-4 hours, and I try to get those 6 pages and I try to get them fairly clean. So if the manuscript is, let's say, 360 pages long, that's basically 2 months' work. It's concentrated, but it's but that's assuming that it goes well.
And you do hit 6 pages a day?
I usually do.
You don't ever have a day where you sit down there and it's like constipation and you write a sentence and you hate the sentence and
okay.
you check your email and you wonder if you had any talent after all and maybe you should have been a plumber. Don't you have days like that?
No, I mean, there's real life. You know, I can be working away and something comes up, and you have to basically get up and you have to go to see the doctor, or you have to take somebody a care package, or you have to go to the post office, because whatever. But mostly I try to get the 6 pages in, although entropy tries to intervene. You know,
He succeeded by writing every single day, whether he felt like it or not. His rage against rejection had turned him into a writing machine, producing over 60 novels and selling over 350 million copies worldwide. Now, I would like you to recall a moment when you've been rejected or dismissed. A time when someone told you you're not good enough, when your work was ignored, your idea was shut down, or your dreams were laughed at. How did it make you feel? Did it depress you? Or did it make you feel angry? Now here comes the challenge. Instead of feeling sorry for yourself, use your anger and turn it into fuel. Prove the doubters and the critics wrong. Outwork them, outlast them. Distinguish yourself not by words, but through effective action. So what's one rejection that has inspired you to better yourself? Drop your comment below and let's learn from each other. Finally, what lesson can we learn from those men? Those men who didn't feel sorry for themselves. Those men who didn't quit when the going got tough. Those men who didn't waste their anger on pointless outbursts. We can learn to use anger wisely, to use it intelligently. Anger can fuel creativity, enhance physical performance, strengthen boundaries, boost confidence, and drive productivity. The key here is control. Anger should be a force that works for you, not against you. Which of these strategies resonated with you the most? Comment below and let's talk to each other. And if you have found this video instrumental, subscribe to the channel and stay tuned for more thought-provoking topics in the future.